The world holds its breath. It's a question whispered in the halls of power from Washington to Beijing. It's debated in hushed tones in cafes across Moscow, St. Petersburg. Who comes after Vladimir Putin? For more than 2 decades, one man has defined Russia. He has shaped its destiny, redrawn its borders, challenged the global order. His grip on power has been absolute, his presence on the world stage inescapable. Now, as we look at the political landscape in late 2025, the succession question is no longer a distant hypothetical. It is the most pressing geopolitical mystery of our time, and its answer will reverberate across every continent. The stability of Russia, a nuclear-armed giant across 11 time zones, rests on this single unknown. Putin has meticulously constructed a system of power, a vertical hierarchy where all lines lead to him. This system, built for control, is also its greatest vulnerability. In the tightly controlled world of Russian politics, there is no open campaign for the top job. Instead, we see a constellation of powerful figures orbiting Vladimir Putin. These are the men who have his ear, who execute his will, and who are now seen as the most likely to inherit his mantle. They are a diverse group, each representing a different faction within the elite. There is the loyalist, the security hawk, the technocrat, and the dark horse. Let's name the key players. First, there is Dmitry Medvedev, the former president and prime minister, now a hawkish deputy on the Security Council. Then we have Alexei Dyumin, the governor of the Tula region, and a former Putin bodyguard. Another key figure is Sergei Kiriyenko, the powerful first deputy chief of staff in the presidential administration. And we cannot ignore Nikolai Patrushev, the secretary of the Security Council. Their power is derived not from popular appeal but from proximity to the center of the system, Vladimir Putin himself. They are products of a political culture that values loyalty above all else, where a single misstep can mean political oblivion. The choice among them, if there is a choice, will tell us everything about where Russia is headed. Dmitry Medvedev is a name the world already knows. He served as president from 2008 to 2012, a period many in the West hoped signaled change. He spoke of innovation, the rule of law, a reset in relations with the United States. He was seen as the softer, more approachable face of the tandem, a stark contrast to the stern ex-KGB officer Putin. That hope faded when he stepped aside for Putin's return in 2012. Since then, his journey has been fascinating, perplexing. After being PM, he became deputy chairman of the Security Council. In this role, he underwent a startling transformation. Once seen as moderate, a tech-savvy lawyer, he's become one of Russia's most belligerent hawks. Public statements, social media posts, filled with fiery rhetoric. His greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, a long relationship with Putin. He proved loyalty by stepping down from the presidency. That gives him a level of trust few others have. His transformation into a hawk is his bid to convince them he is that man. In the shadowy world of Kremlin succession, no rise has been more rapid or more mysterious than that of Alexei Dyumin. To many Russians, he seemed to appear out of nowhere. His official biography is sparse, but the details that are known paint a picture of a man at the very heart of Putin's security apparatus. He began his career in the Federal Protective Service. He guarded the country's top officials. He was a trusted member of Putin's personal security detail, literally tasked with protecting the president's life. This proximity gave him unmatched personal access and trust. His career took a dramatic turn away from personal protection. He is credited with masterminding the 2014 operation to extract Viktor Yanukovych from Crimea. Later that year, he became deputy chief of the GRU, commanding special operations in the annexation of Crimea. For that service, he was awarded the Hero of Russia Medal. In 2016, Putin appointed him governor of the Tula region, a major industrial hub south of Moscow. Analysts saw it as a deliberate training exercise. He is the Kremlin's dark horse. So, while hawks and former bodyguards capture the headlines, the real power in the modern Kremlin often lies with the quiet administrators who run the system. No one embodies this more than Sergei Kiriyenko. As the first deputy chief of staff of the presidential administration, he is, in essence, the Kremlin's chief domestic political operator. He is the man responsible for ensuring the stability of the entire political system, managing regional elections, overseeing state media, and cultivating the patriotic ideology that underpins the government's power. He is less a public figure and more a grandmaster, moving the pieces on Russia's political chessboard. Kiriyenko's background is unique among the inner circle. He rose to prominence in the chaotic 1990s under Boris Yeltsin. At the age of 35, he became Russia's youngest prime minister. His tenure was short and disastrous, ending with the 1998 financial crash and default. That event earned him the unfortunate nickname Kinder Surprise. For years, he was a political outcast. But Putin, in a move that demonstrated his eye for talent, brought him back from the wilderness. He was put in charge of Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear energy corporation, which he transformed into a successful and globally competitive giant. In 2016, Putin brought him into the Kremlin to replace the old guard of political strategists. In the constellation of power around Vladimir Putin, Nikolai Patrushev shines with a cold, hard light. As the Secretary of Russia's Security Council, he is more than just an influential official. He is one of the chief architects of Russia's modern worldview. A fellow KGB veteran from St. Petersburg, his career has been intertwined with Putin's for decades. When Putin left the FSB to become prime minister in 1999, it was Patrushev who he chose to succeed him as its director. For nearly 10 years he led the agency, solidifying its power and influence over every aspect of Russian life. Patrushev is widely seen as the leading voice of the Siloviki, the powerful faction of military and security officials who form the backbone of the regime. He is a true believer in the ideology of a resurgent, powerful Russia, besieged by a hostile West led by the United States. His public interviews and writings are long, detailed manifestos that lay out a conspiracy-laden worldview. In his telling, the West is constantly plotting to dismember Russia, steal its natural resources, destroy its traditional values. For Patrushev, the conflict in Ukraine is not a choice, but a necessary, even existential battle for Russia's survival against Western aggression. The Security Council, under his leadership, has transformed from a consultative body into a key nerve center for state policy. A Patrushev succession would represent the most hardline scenario for Russia's future. For the hawks in the Kremlin, he is the safest and most logical choice. To understand the future of Russian leadership, one must look to its past. Russia has no tradition of democratic, transparent transfers of power. Instead, its history is a chronicle of palace coups, secret deals, and sudden announcements that leave the world stunned. From the czars to the Soviet general secretaries, the process has always been shrouded in secrecy. The leader's health, his intentions, and the identities of his favored successors are treated as state secrets. Think of the end of the Soviet era. The world watched as a succession of aging, infirm leaders, Brezhnev, Andropov, Chernenko, were presented to the public, their frailty hidden until the last possible moment. Similarly, Boris Yeltsin's sudden resignation on New Year's Eve 1999, and his anointing of a little-known Vladimir Putin as his successor, was a political thunderbolt that caught everyone, including most Russians, completely by surprise. It is a high-wire act with no safety net. Away from the silent corridors of the Kremlin, what do ordinary Russians think? In a country where genuine political opposition is suppressed, and state television dominates the airwaves, gauging public opinion is a complex task. Polls consistently show high approval ratings for Vladimir Putin, but they also reveal a deep sense of fatigue and anxiety about the future. For many, Putin represents stability, a welcome change from the chaos and poverty of the 1990s. He is credited with restoring national pride and Russia's place on the world stage. The question of who comes next is therefore met with a mixture of apprehension and a quiet yearning for change. On the streets of Moscow, you hear a range of views. Putin has done a lot for the country. He brought order. A pensioner named Olga might tell you, I worry about what will happen when he is gone. A student named Alexei might say, we have only known one leader. We want a future with more opportunity. We want to be part of the world, not isolated from it, but there is a silent, powerful undercurrent of desire for a different future. While few would dare to publicly call for radical change, many hope for a leader who will focus more on domestic problems. The identity of Russia's next leader is more than just a domestic Russian issue. It is a question of profound global importance. The direction that a post-Putin Russia takes will have a direct impact on international security, energy markets, the future of the global order. For leaders in Washington, Brussels, other world capitals, the transition is a moment of both maximum danger and potential opportunity. A scenario where a hardliner like Nikolai Patrushev or a loyal strongman like Alexei Dumin takes power would likely signal a continuation or even an escalation of the current confrontational stance. For the West, this would mean more of the same, continued support for Ukraine, ongoing sanctions against Russia, and a reinforced military posture in Eastern Europe. The new Cold War, as some have called it, would become more entrenched. The chances for arms control negotiations, could a different type of leader, perhaps a technocrat like Sergei Kiriyenko or even a reinvented Dmitry Medvedev, offer a path to de-escalation? They might prioritize economic reconstruction. This could create an opening for diplomacy. The system Putin has built is designed to perpetuate itself. The world is watching the Kremlin, not for a revolution, but for the revelation of the next steward of the powerful and complex system that Vladimir Putin has built.